Yes, it's likely to be a cold Christmas and winter for the people of war-ravaged Ukraine, but what about folks right here in the USA? The homeless are perhaps among the most vulnerable, especially in northern areas of the country where temperatures often dip well below freezing and even below zero. A new film, 5,000 Blankets, tells the story of how one family was moved to turn their own tragedy into help and hope for the homeless. The Fathom event film is out in theaters next week. The movie's director, Amin Matalqa, joins us now with more. Amin, it's a pleasure to talk with you, so please give us a little of the plot here. What's 5,000 Blankets about?
Thanks for having me, Gary. The film stars Anna Camp, Rob Mays, and Carson Minier. It is the story, the true story of a Texas mother, North Texas in Fort Worth, set in the early 2000s when her husband has a schizophrenic breakdown and goes missing. Mother and son go searching for her husband, and in the process, they become involved with the homeless when her son says, basically his sense of empathy has him call, like he feels the call to the need to do something greater than himself, which is to collect blankets for the homeless. And in that process, they start this organization, Philip Swish, which today collects over 100,000 items, not only blankets but also feeding the homeless and taking care of them, and things like that. So it's a very inspiring story of it's a Rocky story, really. Someone who gets knocked down and gets back up and keeps going.
Well, I know you've won awards for the Jordanian film you directed, Captain Abu Ra'ed, and you've done
Yeah.
others, including the action adventure film, The Rendezvous. So tell me, why 5,000 Blankets? I mean, what was it about this script that made you agree to do it?
Yeah, well, when I read the script by Matt Antonelli and based on the original screenplay by Larry Postel, I it was a page turner. I actually forgot that I was reading it to basically dissect it, and I found myself watching a movie play before my eyes. And really, every page it had a constant sense of motion, and it's a hero's journey. Really, it's the call to adventure. So it's pretty universal, and that was the first thing that really caught my interest. And I love stories of unsung heroes, and this is definitely one of them. Someone who's doing something really for her son. She's not doing it for any glory. She's just doing it to have a sense of control over something, and in that process becomes an activist. It's just a beautiful script, and then my responsibility as a director is just to convey it with the same honesty and respect to the audience and make it an emotional experience. And I think that's why we go to the movies, to feel something, and this is definitely a movie that's very moving, I think.
Well, we see many films coming out of Hollywood today that aren't really about faith or they aren't family friendly. So, how important to you is that to put more films like this out there, and why?
I mean, there's room for. I enjoy action movies as much as anyone else, but human stories are. There's a need for human stories because they make us feel less alone in the world. So for me, um, eh, whether someone has faith or doesn't, I think they will connect with the human struggle and the story of someone who's just trying to hang on. And in the process of making the movie, I felt like there was a greater hand at work, guiding us. And um, yeah, I think movies that have good family values, there's a need for them to counterbalance the movies that don't, and there's plenty of those. So, but I think it's just a universal film that's honest to the characters first and foremost.
Good to see movies with heart, isn't it? And so, what do you think the takeaway for people is with this film? What do you want people to leave the theater thinking about after seeing 5,000 Blankets?
I don't set out to make a film that says here do this or do that. I just want people to feel with the characters and their journey. And if you come out of the film feeling a greater sense of empathy for those who are on the streets, because of different life circumstances, I think the movie does a pretty decent job of exploring not only the mental illness element of her husband, but also just the plight of the war veteran who basically came home and lost their way, and you know, there's just different faces, and the movie tries to see past the surface, you know.
Okay, Amin Matalqa, director of the new film 5,000 Blankets. Thank you for being with us. And coming up, we're going to talk to Cindy Bunch. You know Cindy very well, the woman whose true life story is told in 5,000 Blankets. Thank you, Amin.
Thanks so much, Gary. Really appreciate having us on the show.